So for today, it's arithmetic and geometric sequences, and I just want to take a minute to talk about that one where you had to do 30 plus 5s or whatever to get the answer. And let's just talk about how you could do it way faster. Let's say I start with 10. Everybody write a 10 down, comma. Now, if I do a common difference, that's where I'm just going to add something to it. I don't know, let's add 3. That's pretty easy. So then what's the next number? Well, it's 13. That's really easy. And this will be U1. This will be U2. And do get that if I wanted like U sub 30, then I'm going to have to add 3 a whole bunch of times. But the weird part is I'm not going to have to add 3. I'm not going to have to add 3 30 times. Just want to explain why for a second here. We added 3 once to get the second term. If I add 3 again, would you get I added 3 twice to get U sub 3? See what I mean? It's always 1 less than whatever number you want. So I get it. Some kids are like, so I'll just add 3 30 times. No, you don't. If you want to get U sub 30, you add 3 how many times? No, don't add it 30 times. To get U sub 3, we added 3 twice. So to get U sub 30, you don't add 3 30 times. You add 3 how many times? Nobody has said it right yet. Yes?
29.
29 times. All right, let's just do a couple more here. Do you get if I wanted to get, I add 3 a couple more times, I'm going to get 19, 22. And what is 22? It's U sub 5. This is U sub 4. To get U sub 5, I added 3 4 times. Because I already had one to start with. So I have one to start with, and I add it 4 times to get U sub 5. So if I'm going to get U sub 30, I'm going to add it 29 times. All right, well, there's some formulas for this. And I'm going to give you these on a piece of paper to have on your desk for doing hard problems, because we're going to give you the formulas. This is not like one where you have to memorize all these formulas. Okay, and I think the best thing to do right now is to wait until I have those copies made. And I'm going to hand the formulas to you instead of trying to make you write them all down right now, because they're already written down on this sheet I'm going to give you. Okay. So now when you want to find the 30th term, you have to add the common difference 29 times. It's 1 less than whatever term you have. All right, so instead, though, let's focus on just this. You should be able to do this without any sheet. Recursive formula. Who knows how you start that? We wrote these yesterday. Anybody? Come on now. Yes.
Don't you take the first number and...
Yes. You write the first number, and yes, we are subtracting. What are we subtracting each time? Can you tell?
7.
You're subtracting 7. Very good. So these are the things we need to figure out to actually write the equation now. I start with that first one, and what do I call it? U sub 1 equals. And remember, on an iPad, you can't do a subscript. Well, I'm sure you can in some weird special ways, but on Schoology, you have to just type U1 like a normal one. Equals 16. And then the part that I said would always be there every single time, U sub n is equal to U sub n minus 1. And I only realized that near the end of the hour that they, on the iPad, put it in parentheses. So I'm fine with you putting it in parentheses or just making it a subscript. You know, a kid wants to write it this way, U sub n minus 1, that's cool too. But on the iPad, you'd have to have it in parentheses. U sub n equals U sub n minus 1. And I'm going to remind you why. If I pick this as some random term, I call it U sub n. The term in front of it, U sub n minus 1. The term after it, U sub n plus 1. So this is really saying if you want a random term, u sub n, you take the term in front of it and do something to it. In this case, minus 7. So, minus 7. And there's my equation. That is called a recursive equation. You give them the first term, u sub 1. Every single time, you're going to write u1 equals, and you tell them what to start. Then, you sit and say u sub n minus 1, and then you either add or subtract something, or you multiply by something. What if this had been multiplied? Do you remember what to do? You put it in parentheses. If I did this, that would mean I want you to times by 7 each time. When you put in parentheses, that means times by. Okay? All right. So this is a recursive equation that I wrote for this sequence. Make another one. Everybody go to this page. What is the common difference each time?
7.
Are we subtracting 7 each time?
No.
We're adding 7 each time. That's called D. D is the common difference. It's a lot faster than writing common difference, isn't it? So we say D equals 7. It's just the thing that you add each time. It's the common difference. The difference between this and this. If you ever want it, you could take this, this minus that. -2 minus -9 would be like -2 plus 9. Excuse me. It's kind of a coffee kind of day. Find the 7th term. Do I have to do this 7 times? No,
Yeah.
in fact, you don't. You don't have to do it 7 times. You start with a number, and then you're going to do this common difference 6 times. You know, I start with -9, and I'm going to add 7. How many times? To get the 7th term, I'm going to add it how many times? 6 times. 1 less than whatever term I want. All right. But there's a formula for this, and I'm going to share that with you right now. I'm going to pause the video. So, the 7th term, we have a formula for that. And it's on this sheet. Now, you have to know the difference between arithmetic and geometric. So we have a sheet, and it's located in the Schoology folder for today. If you want to pull that out, you don't have to. You in class right now, you have this paper, but I'm saying this for the recording people. There is a sheet that was put in Schoology, and it's called the formulas. So there's arithmetic and geometric, and I want to make sure you know the difference. Arithmetic is the kind where you add. Geometric, if you want to write this right on the sheet I gave you, that's the kind where you multiply. Arithmetic is the add kind, geometric is the multiply kind. All right. Now, what we want right now is u sub n. That's like any term. Now, if you look on the little formula sheet I just gave you, it says u sub n. And then it says, that's the top row of the little formulas, it says there's arithmetic or there's geometric. Everybody find the one that says arithmetic, because that's what we're doing here. The common difference is 7. And this is what it says. un equals u1 plus n minus 1 times d. Remember me saying we had a first term? That's why you don't want to add it 7 times. You have a first term, and that's u sub 1, and that was, in this case, -9. So you start with -9. Plus, you're not going to do it 7 times. You're going to do it 7 minus 1 times that you're going to do the common difference, which in this case was 7. The thing we add each time. We're adding 7 each time. Add 7, add 7, add 7. That's called the common difference. So see why I put in D is 7? Because it's the common difference. Why did I do it 7 minus 1 times? Because you don't want to add it 7 times. You want to add it 6 times to the original number, which was -9. There's your formula. And you're going to use it like a gajillion times, so let's get used to it. So then 7 minus 1 is 6. 6 times you're going to add 7. Well, it's 6 times 7. That's 42. It's like adding 42. So you had negative 9 plus 42. Could you use a calculator? Totally. As long as you can put that in a calculator, you'd be fine. And I hope you're smart enough to do 7 minus 1 in your head. No need to put in parentheses 7 minus 1. You can just do 6 times 7 is 42. And if I actually had a calculator for this moment, I wouldn't mind it. What's negative 9 plus 42? Well, I can take away 10 pretty easy, and that'd be 32, but it's not taking away quite that much. So 33 is correct. So 33 is the 7th term. How about the 100th term? Isn't it pretty handy that we have a way to do this and you don't have to actually add 7 100 times? Well, you wouldn't. You'd add 7 99 times. So here's the formula. I'm going to write it again. You have it on your sheet. UN, any term. That's what UN means, any term. U1, that's the first term, plus n minus 1 times d. We're going to do the common difference, which is 7. When we're not going to do it 100 times, we're going to do 100 minus 1 times, which is 99 times 7. Plus the starting number was negative 9. Do you get these formulas? They're easy if you know what each thing is. U1's the first term. N is what term we want. We want the 100th term, so that's 100, see? We do one less than that because you don't need to add it 100 times. You need to add it 99 times. And this is the thing you keep adding over and over again. So it's 99 times 7 minus 9. Now I'm going to use Siri. What is 99 times 7? It says 693. What is negative 9 plus 693? 684. Did anybody beat me to that? A couple people. Nice job. All right. Do you get that with a formula? This is not that bad. You just have to stick the numbers in the formula. All right, so next page. Everybody get to this one. 3, 8, 13, 18. Is this the kind where we are multiplying by something? No. Is this the kind we're adding something? Yes, we are adding what? 5. So that is the common difference, it's called. Just write D equals 5. That should mean, and I kind of like to do this. You don't have to, but I'm adding 5. So if I want the 86th term, you go for any term, U sub 86. It is the U sub 1, which I can right away just put in. What is U sub 1? What's U sub 1? 3. It's the starting number. And then you go not 86, but 86 minus 1, which is 85, times the common difference, which was 5. Just pull up the calculator on your iPad for this one, just because I don't think you really need to go borrow a calculator for this, but 85 times 5 plus 3. What is 85 times 5 plus 3? 428. Can anybody verify that? Cool. 428. How about U sub 27? U sub 27 will be the starting number, which was 3, plus not 27 of them. I'm just going to jump right to it and put 26 sets of the thing we add each time, which is 5. See how I'm getting faster at doing this? You will too. This was U sub 1. This was n minus 1. Did it in my head. I just said not 27 of them, 26 of them, times the starting number, the common difference. And then totally I'd use a calculator for this in this class at this level. What is 26 times 5? And then add 3. 133. That's the 27th term. Okay, on to next time. These are geometric. So we got another formula to know. It's on that little sheet, which I feel bad that I don't have one for everybody, but I'm gonna have one for everybody very soon. Write this down, especially if you don't have a sheet. UN equals U1 times R to the n minus 1. Do you get, once again, it's 1 less than the term you want. If I want u sub 27, I'm going to put a 27 minus 1, I'm going to do it 26 times. But this is geometric, so this is a rate that you multiply by. R is like a ratio, technically. It's a ratio of this divided by this, which should be the same as this divided by this, which seems to be 2. What's 1 divided into halves? 2. So the common ratio was 2. So the 7th term, do I want to do something to it 7 times? No, 6 times. So here's the formula. U sub 7, the 7th term, will be u sub 1 times r to the n minus 1. And I'm now going to fill in my stuff. U sub 7 will be u sub 1, which is 1/2 is what I started with. See, right here. Times the rate, which is r, which is 2, common ratio, 2, to the n minus 1. I don't do it 7 times, I do it 6 times. The n minus 1, it would have been 7 minus 1. That's why I have a 6 there. And now, remember that the order matters. You got to do this power, 2 to the 6th. It's a big number, and then you cut it in half. Times by half at the end. What is 2 to the 6th? Thank you. And then it's half of 64. I can do that in my head. 32. 32 would be the 7th term. All right, last one. I'm going to write the formula because, again, I understand not everybody has one on their desk. UN, U1, R to the n minus 1. By now, you know what the rate is. I've used it twice. Technically, it's called the common ratio. You know what u sub 1 is. It's the first term. And you're not going to do it 30 times. You're going to do it 29. I'll pause for a second. See if we can get this answer without me. So, let's see. U sub 1 is 1/2. What is u sub 1? It's the first term. R is common difference. Common ratio. It's 2. And then I don't do it 30 times. I do it 30 minus 1 times, which is 29 times. Holy crap. If you have never done 2 to the 29th before, it's probably so big that your calculator just exploded. And then whatever that is, you cut it in half. All right. Let me see what my calculator says. What is 2 to the 29th power? 536,870,912. Now you guys, your calculator might have failed. I totally understand that. And then I put a half in front of that. What is 1/2 of 536,870,912? 268,435,456. And all of a sudden, it's in the millions. It's not that crazy of a number, I guess. That is the 30th term. We did something to it 29 times because we had a starting number. We didn't need to do something 30 times. We did it 29 times. All right. So here's a geometric. They say find the 13th term. I will write the formula right here. U sub 1 times R to the n minus 1. It all comes down to, do you know what this means? Do you know what this means? And do you know what the heck the n is? Because if you do, you can subtract 1 from it. Take a second. Try to find the 13th term. You'll need this number, times it by that number, to that power. I'll pause for a sec, give it a shot. Okay, I did see some of you checking, and I really appreciate you trying. And that's what it looks like is, so what'd you have? So u sub 1 was 64. That's what u sub 1 is. 64. And then what's the r? They are multiplying by something that makes it smaller. And I don't like that one because the number's so big, but I'm going to do this one. And so I think to myself, what could I multiply that makes 16 turn into 4? Another way to do it is to go 4 divided by 16. That's called the common ratio. And what is 4 divided by 16? It's 1/4. That's the thing you would times by. Who have figured out that it was 1/4? Ah, a bunch of you. If you didn't get that, here's what you should have done. Always, you can take the second number and divide it by the first number. So this number divided by that number. 16 divided by 64, and it comes out to 1/4. So our r is 1/4. And then n minus 1, I'm not going to do it 13 times, I'm going to do it 12 times. 13 minus 1. And there is your answer, and it's going to be tiny, because 1/4 to the 12th is tiny. Now, we will times it by 64, but it's such a tiny number. What is 1/4 to the power of 12? Cheapers. 0.000000596, and then I times it by 64. What is that answer times 64? 0.00005038814. Well, my calculus is 4. I could believe it if we rounded slightly different and you had a different number at the very end. Nasty, but not incredibly hard if you use the formulas. All right, so let's get to, is this arithmetic or geometric? Are they adding the same thing each time? Then it's arithmetic. If they're multiplying by the same thing each time, then it's geometric. So which one is it? You think this is add or multiply? It's add. Looks like add 27, like this first one doesn't make it too bad. And then if you add 27 again, yeah, that seems about right. This is add 27. That's called the common difference. This one, it doesn't, I know for sure that they're not subtracting the same thing each time, right? So then they must be doing that multiply by a fraction thing. How do you get the fraction? That divided by that, 21/30ths. If you wanted to see the decimal, you'd take 21 divided by 30. Move my calculator. 21 divided by 30.7. So that's the common ratio. Because if you times it by 0.7, you'll keep getting the next term. All right. This one's growing each time. I feel like it's adding something each time. If I wanted to know for sure, I'd take this minus this. What is 48 minus 36? 12. Oh, wait a minute. If I add 12 here and I add 12 here, 60, not 64. What the heck? It's not add 12 each time. Is there a chance they multiplied by something? There is. What is 48 divided by 36? 1.3 repeating. They could have been multiplying by 1.3 repeating. I'm going to check and see if that works. What is 48 times 1.333? 64. That makes this the common difference. Nope, that's if you're adding it. Denominator. Common ratio. It's called the common ratio. It was tricky. But you just have to check it once. I thought it was add 12. I added 12 to this and it did not work. So then I took this divided by that. That's what the ratio is. 48 divided by 36, and my calculator gave me the right answer. 0.7. No, 1.33. Sorry. Okay. Last one. Seems like it subtracts something. So I'm going to do 28 minus 31. Yeah, it's subtract 3. I just didn't see it right away. Is that a common ratio or a common difference then? Common difference. Cool. All right. Last thing is word problems. And then we'll have the rest of the time as work time. I know there's not tons left, but I'm going to go get those copies too, so you'll leave here with a piece of paper for sure. She's stacking her blocks to make a pyramid. So that kind of looks like this. I should make them squares, but it'd take me too long. So do you get there's one more in each row? If you've ever done blocks before, that's what happens. This one had a row of 1. This one has 2 in the row. This one has 3 in the row. This one has 4 in the row. Okay. But the way this one is described as the top of the pyramid was comprised of 3 blocks. 3. And each row below that had 5 more. Plus 5 gives you 8. And then the next row beyond that, you add 5 again. So do you get, they're really just describing a sequence that started with 3. And I know, my picture is different because they had 3 blocks at the top, but it was generally a stack of blocks, but. So you started with this, you added 5, and you kept doing that. The 16th row, I bet I'm going to add 5 16 times. 15 times, very good. So you start with your 3. Your u sub n will be starting one number, 3. But you're not going to add your common difference n times and minus 1 times. So not 16, but 15 times. 15 times the common difference of 5, and then you add the 3 that you started with. And I'm getting faster at these. I hope you are. Now I'm going to grab my calculator and do 15 times 5. And that's 75. And then I add 3, and that makes 78. Okay, so this was a bunch of words. Do you get, in the end, I just need to know a list of terms like this. The bunch of words is just going to tell you what you started with and how much it grows each time. So look at it from that perspective. This is the last one we're doing together, so pay attention. You can do this. One last question. It has a total of 28. 28 steps. The bottom step requires 100 bricks, and each successive step requires 2 less bricks. Oh, so you're saying we start with 100 and we keep subtracting 2. You want to do that forever? Do you want to do it 28 times? No, you wouldn't do it 28 times, 27 times. So you use this formula. The first number, not 28 times, but 28 minus 1 times. And the common difference was 2 less. Careful with this. 2 less, negative 2. You're subtracting 2, so that's got to be a negative. Otherwise, you'll end up with a bigger number, and that doesn't make sense. It should be shrinking each time. So the common difference here was minus 2. And I'm not going to do it 28 times. I'm going to do it 28 minus 1 times. So 27 times the negative 2. And then I started with how many bricks again? 100. So really, you just got to figure out what you start with and what the common difference is each time. Final answer on this one. Negative 54. So it's 100 minus 54. which would be 46. There'd be 46 bricks on the top step. Okay, let's get to your homework. Your homework is a Schoology quiz. Everybody find that Schoology quiz. We'll do the first problem together. There's only like 5 problems. Okay, very doable. Got the Schoology quiz open yet? Aurelia, could you read me number 1?
So it gives us a sequence of
Read it to me.
6, 11, 16, and 21. And then
What's your gut? Are we adding, subtracting, multiplying by something? Aurelia, what do you think we're doing?
Adding 5.
I agree. That's called a common
Difference.
difference. So D is 5. I don't think they ask us that, but they're going to ask us to do something with that. Okay, now what?
So they just ask if it's arithmetic or geometric.
Oh, we adding 5 each time. What's that? Is it arithmetic or geometric?
Arithmetic.
Arithmetic goes with add. So I think they just want you to abbreviate and just use an A, right? Okay. Don't be careful though, it's a capital. They tell you, like they show you it's like this, then you got to do it just like they do it. They did it with a capital, you use a capital. Was it capital? I think it was a capital. Okay, good. All right. Number 2, Davis.
Given the sequence 2, 8, and 32, is it arithmetic
Yep.
or geometric?
Perfect. And what do you say? Do you feel like you added the same thing each time?
No.
Then do you think it's multiplied by the same thing each time? What would you multiply by to get from 2 to 8?
Or
What's 8 times 4? It's 32. So, yup, it's times by 4 each time. So then it's called a common ratio. All right. Yay, you figured out how to use those formulas. I need to go get some copies for the last kids that didn't get one. That's all I got for you for today.